So strategic thinking in developing competitive strategy, it's about really about focusing on trying to pull you back into thinking, centralizing on the thinking processes, centralizing on utilize your thinking, your mind, and focus on thinking. There are a lot of things about thinking. The way, there are many things that influence the thinking. Such as the worldviews, the concepts, right? You study the trilogies of strategy, which is a very good strategies comes from three things, right? One of them is the content, the other one is the context, and the other one is the concept. So among these three C's that praise that makes up the good strategic strategic development, strategy formulation, strategy design, strategy articulation, strategy sense making is the context that adapt to the context, the relevant environment, both internally and externally. Meaning that your contingency, your situation, your adaptability, your opportunity, your threat, your trend, and so on and so forth. So you, in order to come up with your strength and weaknesses, SW, right, and OT, which is the context. OT strength is and OT would be S, and W would be your content. What kind of things, what kind of competencies that I have just that I share with you in terms of let's say the social competency, the environmental competency, the ecological competency, or the hidden competencies, or the task-based competencies, or the other types of competency, cultural competency, technological competency, and so on and so forth. All these contents really come from concepts. So if you want to come up with a good competencies or content, which I require you in your in this assignment, is that the content has to be competencies driven. Okay, you don't need to give me marketing. You can transform marketing and convert it into marketing competency. That is fine, but I am not looking into marketing strategy per se. I'm looking into the content that you exploit and utilize marketing in the perspective of what, okay, that can give you competitive advantages or niche. Okay, and that really depends on concept. So it comes back to strategic thinking. Okay, so this concept thinking is very important. Strategic thinking, 战略思维, strategic thinking it's as I already demonstrated to you, everything comes from thinking, because it is the thinking that drive our behavior. It is the thinking that lead us to take action. Right? It is the thinking that give us whether we should do A or do B. It is the thinking that allow us to know various perspectives. It is a thinking that we are aware that we are not knowing something, that we need to do more things, we need to find more information. So strategic thinking is in the end is a way of thinking that combines all these things that I have just mentioned to you to help you stand tall and see far. So how do you know that your thinking is sufficiently strategic and robust enough? Is that all your thinking that you put on your PowerPoint slides and on your presentation that allow you to stand tall and see far. Okay, so strategic thinking is the thinking, whichever dimensions of thinking, whichever domains of thinking, whichever process of thinking, whichever areas of thinking, whichever scopes of thinking that allow you to stand tall and see very, very far. By seeing the very, very far, you don't feel panic. You feel confident, right? Because you can see what's happening, what is going to happen, right? And so and maybe you already see what is happening, but in every way, every place in the industry, because you see so far that nobody else can see. Everybody sees so little. So sees only the in proximity of their vision, and so if you can see so far much further ahead, you will be more confident of your processes. You will be more confident on your decision. You will be more certain on your work environment and on your decisions making. So strategic thinking, therefore, it's a way of thinking, right? That helps you stand tall. Okay, 站得高，看得远, right? 西法, and this is very, very important. So mankind usually we face two important challenges. Why we need strategic thinkings? Why when you make a presentations in terms of competency-based strategy and competence-based profiles in tourism, in industries, in the hotel industry, culinary industry, is that you got to you have to realize that you are dealing with two very fundamental challenges. This, if you do not look at these two fundamental challenges, your thinkings will be differently. Your thinkings will be, well, fine, well, it's going to happen, and no big deal. We today, we will just make some discount, and this is what I listened from the student. Discount as a strategy. That is not the competency. The competency of discounting. Of you discounting a certain price from original price, that is not competencies. We can just do it immediately within a second. Everybody can do it, right? And so this is not competency. Competency means you have mastered for a long period of time, sufficient period of time, based on certain structures of knowledge, and pushed by your own attitude, or trust by your own attitude, in a way that gets you to be able to master and deliver certain action that are different from other people, and you use that action in a very unique manner, such as positioning your action in a way that nobody else is doing it, and brings it into the domains of value that customer appreciate it. So we are talking about customers. We're talking about industry positioning. We are talking about doing things differently, so that you are able to have a better negotiation, a capability in dealing with all the five forces of Michael Porter's talking about it, and so that you are in an industry that has a good bargaining power, so that you can improve your revenues and reduce your price or control your price. That is all about competency-based competitive strategy of giving you a niche from the activities that you do that allow you to stand tall and stand high and stand differently. And it's unique positioning in the market. So this is very, very important. So before we give you that, you have to change your mind. So there are two very fundamental challenges. So it's just like a threat. So if you look at these challenges as the threat, that means your strategy will be different. The way you build your competencies will be different, right? So do you look at threat from the fundamental challenges perspective, or do you look at opportunity from these two fundamental challenges? If you don't look at it, then you're losing the way of looking at the opportunity and threat in that particular way. That is all. Well, you can have strategies, but you are not looking at that particular way. So, 人类面临两种根本的挑战。Mankind faces two fundamental challenges. One of them is the time is accelerating so fast now. And, it's like things are changing all the time in the world today. Every day you move on, you turn on the TV. I'm also recording it so that anybody got caught on the internet. Myanmar students are a little bit concerned on the internet. So I, any times when I comes to the educational guidance and coachings and teachings, I will record it, and you can either find on the videos that I share on the Zoom or on a YouTube, right? If there's not much interaction, intervene by these assignments or students' presentations, so you can find it YouTube. Otherwise, I will use internal sharing with the Zoom sharing code. Okay, so one of them is the time acceleration. You can see that things are changing so fast every day. So because of this time change acceleration, it brings about uncertainty. Things are moving so fast. You're not certain nowadays that what is going on tomorrow, what will be tomorrow looks like. So the world is changing so fast nowadays for whatever reasons. It could be for greed. It could be for ignorance. We are not understanding each other's, and we are not understanding the mankind. We are not understanding the technologies. We are not understanding the real situation, and we simply jump on to do something, and all these uncertainties comes into the picture. And coupled with the cyberspace, it creates even chaosity, space complexity, and uncertainties becomes more and more certain, right? So, in standing tall, just give you a couple of ideas on why we need to have the strategic thinking and standing that allow us to stand tall. Because by standing tall, we will have a global view, right? We'll have a global view. So pictures tells all the story. When you look at all the global view, whether you enjoy it, you feel more relaxing emotionally. Look at these views, you feel so happy and you feel so relaxed. You see that the world, is so wide and so calm. No one is killing each other, and the nature is so relaxed. So you stand tall. You stand with a global view. Only by seeing the overall view, overall situation, can we do better on the part. So if you want to get into the individual part of what you're going to do socially, what you're going to do environmentally, what you're going to do ecologically, what you're going to do culturally, what you're going to do technologically, what you're going to do operations-wise, what you're going to do human resource-wise, what are you going to do leadership-wise, what are you going to do in automations-wise, whatever. You are able to see the overall picture. So being able to see the holistic pictures allow you to be able to make use of your competency at individual part. And that will be able to give you the competitive advantages. Okay. Standing tall, you can sort out how many dimensions there are in this line that are very important to you and what are not important to you and how you're going to make it happen. So it is very important that we do that. If you see so far through your strategic thinking, you will have a very, very broad final view that allow you to see almost to the end. And then from there, you walk with very, very robust confidence and capable of adapting, right? And invest properly because you know how to invest at what point. By seeing far, you can identify all the path step by step. If a person stands taller and has a broader vision, you can make a more mature and long-term decision and have a clear understanding of which along the step, what things you need to solve. Okay, so these are very, very important. There is a very simple formula which I obtained from this book, 共赢战略. Okay, and this core battering, okay, strategy, and it's discussed a very important a very interesting and very simple formulas that our world is so complex now, and the complexities of this world come from two important situation, characteristics of the environments that multiply to each others and resonating into a very complex environment that makes it very difficult to solve the issue. And so our business operations nowadays are in a very complex world. So how are we going to deal with it? We have to deal with the complexities world. And to deal with it, it breaks it down into two important domains. One of them is complexity is due to uncertainty. Okay, things are not certain. You are not certain. That is the reasons why it gives you complexity. The other issue is that there is no continuity. You continue today and it breaks down. Okay, Huawei want to continue and it breaks down. and somebody else, Myanmar, want to continue, and it breaks down, and we want to continue, and it breaks down. So there is no continuity in a sense. Because of this discontinuity and uncertainty, it gives the world a very, very complex world. So the real world is very complex on the one hand because of what? Because of the uncertainties, right? Because of the uncertainty of where we want to, where we're going, and how we're gonna be, and so the uncertainty of the future development direction is uncertain, and therefore it opens up many possibilities. We do not know what will happen to One Belt One Road. We will not know what happened to who is going to be with who and who is going to be against who. We're not going to be certain that which industry is going to stay and which industry is not going to stay. We are not so sure that how the hotel industry is going to move from one end to another end. We are not so sure how the tourism is going to be 2-3 years from now. Bearing in mind that we now all have vaccination, but vaccination just like a flu. We go to vaccinate, we still can catch a flu. So if and we vaccinate, we still can spread the virus. So everybody think that vaccination, that we are now vaccination, so we are free. We can open the mask and we can go anywhere we like. And no, we are creating chaosity for the world. The more you inject and the more you feel confident, this is ignorance confidence, and you will spread all the virus not to you but to everybody else. And so you can see that this is getting a very serious issue. You don't need to worry about how much you really need to absorb. Whichever time we have, we just learn and discuss and negotiate and coaching and understanding, interacting among each other within that time frame. Because every time we talk something, it gives us a new perspective. It gives us a new perspective. It means it gives us a new strategic domain. Right? For example, we have a balanced Harvard Business School's Kaplan and Norton share with us. If you want to be competitive, you have to be able to integrate and creative on different perspectives, right? So, so the thinking, the teaching, the interaction between you and me is just opening up the perspective. The more we open up our perspective, the more we can find information, the more we can interact, the more we can be creative on that perspective, right? So do not need to worry about how far we go. Okay, it's all about every day. If you listen carefully, every day we gain some information. So if you look into this coronavirus, just now the vaccination, complexities and uncertainty, and you'll see that, everybody is vaccinated, right? Everybody is vaccination. So it goes down. And what happens now? What happens to this world situation now? It goes up again. It goes up again. So we're in a third wave, right? First, second, and now we are coming into the third wave. So this, or maybe this is the second wave for the whole world. So we are now in a serious trouble. So we do not know where we are. The many possibility, right? Many possibility. And on the other hand, the complexity is precisely because of the discontinuity of the future development part. Something is going to be stopped, discontinue. Maybe some industry will disappear and will change the shape and be more digitized. So this complexity is therefore uncertainties and this situation. So strategic thinking, therefore, in this situation, it is about the scopes of our thinking. It's the scopes of our cognitions, which I have just demonstrated, and this strategy is the scope. To simplify it, you want to talk about a part or you want to talk about the whole. So the so-called scopes of cognition is to be able to see the part as well as the whole. Some people only see the part. Some people can see the whole. Some people can see both. The other one is about your vision. Not only the space, but it is about how you move from the space. So it's about the vision. So it is about just to be able to see the present and as well as the future. Okay, so these situations therefore comes in because of this situation. Then some people comes into the picture that it creates 4 different scenarios. It creates 4 different scenarios in terms of the strategic thinking. So if our strategic thinking is discontinue, the discontinuity is low, or discontinuity is very high, meaning it's disrupting very in a high level, and the development of the future is very uncertain, and which is high uncertain and low uncertain. So something is very certain. Something is very certain and very much continuing, and your path is like it's like a freight line. But when something is very discontinuous, it could happen. You move in this direction and suddenly it goes to another direction, and sometimes suddenly because of the external environments you cannot move forward. You have to go to another direction, and so you're not certain of your future direction. You're not certain of where you're going. This is usually at the new startup 创业的阶段 new startup direction. In this new startup direction, one of your strategy would be one of your competitive strategy in this direction would be adaptive competitive strategy 适应式的战略. So depends on whether things are uncertain and things are discontinuous. It could be very much in a any possibility. It's possible. It's everywhere. Okay, but then when you slowly get out from this environment and slowly form a shift into a mature direction, mature industry. For example, in a mature industry, you found that your discontinuity, you could move, you could invest more money, you can take over some other company, or you can be creative, or you could collaborate, or you could do anything. So this discontinuity strategy, it's everywhere, but you are pretty certain. You're pretty certain is that you're gonna get into somewhere in the future, that you're gonna achieve certain direction. So therefore, you are seeing this scenario that the present is straight line and the future should be continue. But in between, any possibility is possible because you have the very low uncertainty, which means it's very much continuing, and you have the very high discontinuity, meaning that you're in a situation where creativity comes into the picture. So because of that, the only competitive strategy that your organizations can move forward is called visionary strategy. So 愿景式的战略, visionary strategy. So a company in these directions will need to have a very strong vision that allow you to continue into the future. At the same time, the vision allows you to be discontinuous and disrupting. So by disrupting, by being discontinuous in that environment, lead you to continuous in the future. So this kind of situation is usually we see in the growing stage. So it is not only about the environment that talk about discontinuity on the horizontal axis and the uncertainties on the vertical axis, but actually every industry, whichever environment we start with creations, new startup entrepreneurship, and then we move to the mature, and then we move to the growing state. and then we move to the mature state, which is a flat line, and then we move to a dying state, which require you to transform. So, and that transform state require, I mean, it is in a situations where the present is this straight line, but because it's uncertainties of the futures, every possible things are always there. For example, Xiaomi announced yesterday that they may branch into an electric car. So and why is that so? And even Huawei has to move into many different industry, and it's because of uncertainty at the present moment. Okay, but because the company is so strong that there's still certain continuation, but the uncertainty in the future, in the direction, in the environment is very much very high, and so they can allow more emerging 涌现式的战略, more emerging strategies to come into the picture. So this one, you do not need to worry too much. This one is a little bit more philosophy, but I just want to let you know that if we all slow down our life, and try to understand the environment, and whether the environment is continuing, whether the environment is certain, whether the certainty is high or low, and uncertainty is high or low, or the discontinuity is high or low, we can have 4 different scenarios. And all these 4 different scenarios not only happening in the life cycle of an industry or life cycle of an organization, starting from entrepreneurship on the top right to the growing stage, and to the mature state, and to the transform state, but also the industry in different scenario, 格局, is the scopes of the cognitive thinking is all different. So we have 4 scopes of 格局, we have 4 scopes of the thinking that plays along with the parts and the whole, and also the present and the future. Now, bear in mind that the complexities of this whole world is that if you look carefully in some of the business issue, you will or the situation in the society, this uncertainties of complexities and discontinuity of the uncertainties, sometimes you can see from the butterfly effect. So this butterfly effect it's a reality, it's a fact that hopefully all of you, including me, please take note, because if you understand this butterfly effect, you will know that we are living in a very uncertain world, and this uncertain world is a very complex world, and this, whether it's uncertain or not, this butterfly effect tell us that there is certain, even though it's so complexity, very difficult, but if you look carefully, there is certain pattern. But these patterns of behavior it can be influenced very far away. That is a butterfly effect. For instance, a COVID-19 stuck in Wuhan. So a butterfly called COVID-19 in Wuhan flicked flip a little bit of their wing, just a little bit, and then boom, the whole world changed. The whole world get impacted with certain. It's very complex world now. Uncertainty, discontinuity, but it's very complex. But again, you can see that there is certain patterns going on. It just duplicates the same thing in Wuhan to everywhere in the world. This is called wave. This is called butterfly effect. So, because, for example, USA or any country or any unit or organization, and especially big organization, they flip a little bit, and it changed the whole world. or not only the big companies, such as if we pollute the water, if we just strip a little bit, we go up and we put a little bit of pollution into the river, and you can see that all of a sudden, many days later, or the whole ocean has a problem, and everybody stops living, and many creatures in the oceans die because we are putting some pollution that is so serious that it pollutes the whole ocean in a very fast chemical reactions way. So this is what we means by butterfly effect. Okay, so this butterfly effect is very, very important. So to sum up, the uncertainty in one sentence is in some complex systems, even if the initial position and the directions of change are extremely small, it will cause huge errors in the long-term prediction. Okay, you can almost certain in the long term or in the far distance from here, it's going to happen. So because everybody neglect the butterfly effect, so actually this butterfly effect is very, very good. It helps us to understand complexity, this uncertainty, and this continuity in a more scientific way. Because this butterfly effect, if you go to the mathematical simulations, I've forgotten the mathematical equation and the simulation. But if you look into the butterfly effect, you can almost see that no matter how complex the world, the butterfly effects can tell us that the inferences, no matter how complex, there is certain prediction, certain patterns of behavior. So in the long-term prediction, we can almost guarantee something is happening. But if we do not incorporate all this into the issue, we're going to create disasters. Okay, and so this very, very important. So this therefore we have this entrepreneurship, growth, maturity, and transformation being seen, being played out on a day-to-day basis. But if we put it up, we will see an even bigger picture than just the entrepreneurship's growth, maturity, and transformation. We will see the 4 different scenarios of complexity. One of the scenarios of complexity is high uncertainty. The uncertainty is very high, and the discontinuity is very high. Under this situation, your competitive strategy at the broad sense is adaptable. Okay, adapting strategy. And if you're in a situations where the uncertainty, your uncertainty is very low, meaning it's quite certain in the future, but it's just that in between the processes there are things could happen, things could happen. This company combined with that company combined with that company, this company combined with that company, another company combined with another company, and so on and so forth. So for example, we are pretty certain that the whole world is going to move into digitized world. So the digital chips, 晶片, in the future, everybody's going to use a lot of 晶片, chip, computer chip. So this the world is the discontinuities, the uncertainty is very, very low, meaning it's pretty certain that in the future everybody is moving into computer chip. But in between, because of the disrupted by the COVID-19, the discontinuity is very high. Sometimes Korea companies play along with China. Sometimes it break up and then collaborate with Taiwan, and then sometimes compete with Taiwan. Sometimes, and then the Intels want to compete with Taiwan. So Intel compete with China. Intel compete with this, and China compete with it. And then some other small company all die, and then so it's very disruptive. Discontinuity. Under this situation, anybody who wins, if you are a big company, or if you are in the Huawei, or you are in others, those Intels or big companies, or in China as a leaders, or in Singapore, or in Australia, or whatever. If all these leaders see this situation, so you have to be the leader. Must use a competitive strategy under the umbrella of a concept called visionary strategy. I mean, visionary strategy from a big organization is called visionary, but for small departments like marketing or R&Ds, and you could go different things. Visionary could mean differentiation. Visionaries could mean digitization. Visionaries could mean automation. Visionaries could mean artificial intelligence. Visionaries could mean what? So anyway, this is called strategy. You look at it, but under all this strategy of differentiations or whatever, positioning, you can under the concept of the strategic umbrella called visioning. So at least today, you can learn, you can understand that strategy can still be summarized into a conceptual form. So these are all conceptual form of strategy. Conceptual form of strategy. So there are 4 different concepts of strategy, of competitive strategy, that allow your company to develop your competitive strategy according to the concept. This is what I have discussed with you since the very beginning of the trilogies of strategy, which is in the context, in the environments where we have uncertainty, and in the environments where we have the continuity or discontinuity, that is called context. Within that context, we have a concept, and we have 4 different concepts. Within these 4 different concepts, we can deliver the competency, we can deliver the competitive strategy. That is called the content. So today is just by talking, and we have the time. And so take this opportunity within 2 hours time, interacting with each other to give you a different perspective based on the assignment, the understanding the trilogy of this strategy of context, which is the complex world. And so we have this context. We have the context of complexity, context of complexities, which we talk about it, right? And in terms of this, in terms of uncertainty and discontinuity, and then we know that don't worry about the uncertainty and discontinuity. They are important because of the butterfly effect, but the butterfly effect also tells us that we can actually take control of it. And so this is good news. Bad news is very complicated, but good news is that we are pretty sure that we know that we have certain patterns of behavior, because the butterfly wing, and then certain directions happening, certain forces happening, so you can predict the situation in the world. And then from there we come up with 4 different concepts. One is this adaptable concept, another one is visionary concept, another one is emergent strategy concept, another one is planning concept. So in situations like this, we have 4 different strategic concepts. Strategic competitive concept. So before you look into your competitive competency, for the competitive strategy point of view, there are 4 different concepts, competitive strategy concept that we can look at it. One of them is the adaptable, because of the low uncertainty, high uncertainty, and very high discontinuity. Okay, and then we have this visionary strategy, because of this very high discontinuity, but the very low uncertainty. And then we have this emergent strategy concept, because we have very high uncertainty of our future direction of development, but we have very low discontinuity, meaning things can continue. Okay, pretty straightforward. And then we have very low discontinuity and very low uncertainty. That means pretty sure things are planted as it is. So we can focus on planning, 计划式的战略, planning strategy. So we can have business plan, we can have this plan. All this is during the low. But if you're transcending beyond the low, all the planning that you study in the university all cannot work. You have to adapt, emergent. You have to adapt. This means organizational learning. You have to be more adaptable. Means you have to learn and read and adapt and be flexible and ambidextrous. And then in this another concepts of very situations where your organization can be sure, or the market can be sure that there is a continuity, there is certainty in that sense, but the discontinuity, because of the situations happen, then you must make sure that you have a clear vision that allow your company to move forward. Okay, so when the uncertainty of the future development, I already explained it, but these are just sentences. I'm just read it out, and hopefully you can read it by yourself. And when the uncertainty, right, of the future development direction are low, okay, and the discontinuity of the future development is low, meaning the future is pretty much certain, right, much continuing, then the development of the enterprise is like a straight, solid line. Okay, the direction is determined. In which direction is determined, and the path is continuous. In this case, company usually adopt a concept, a strategic concept called planted strategy. So your competency must be adapted to that planted. So your competencies that you're going to develop, that you're going to implement, that you're going to invest money on, is according to the planted strategy. Okay, planted strategy. But on the other hand, when the uncertainty of the future direction is very low, but the discontinuity is very high, like a COVID time for the digitized computer chips industry, the development enterprise is like a line with a fixed direction at both ends, but the two ends of the lines are not continuous. The two ends of the lines are not continuous, and they're discontinuous. And in this case, the company should adopt a visionary strategy. In other words, it is to set the goal and not let go. We will not let go. We will make it happen. Computer chip is very important. If they want to kill us, we will do anything to achieve it. Okay, so this is you see, the whole competencies will change, right? You will invest on chips and things like that. When the uncertainty of the future direction is very high, uncertainty, right? You do not know where your future is, and the discontinuity is very low. Okay, discontinuity is very low, meaning you can step by step, you can move, right? It's just that the uncertainty is in the future is very high, so it can be a different possibility. It could be here, 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 could be here. So you have to have the capability and competencies to develop that. And the development enterprise is like a forked branch, and the different branches pointing in different direction. Okay, your company must move in that different direction accordingly. In this case, enterprise should fully interact with the environment, continuously adjust the strategic direction according to the environment. This is called emergent strategy. Okay, so 涌现式的战略. Okay, and the next one will be this curiosity, which is like a creativity and entrepreneurship stage. Similar to entrepreneurship, it doesn't mean entrepreneurship. Every organization also without entrepreneurship, also in this conceptual environment. So uncertainty of future direction is very high. Discontinuity of the different path is very high, right? And so this state is like a maze, right? It's like a migong, right? It's like a maze with many traps in the between. And if you move in this direction, somebody hit you, right? And if you move in that direction, somebody hit you. If you move in that direction, somebody hit you. Okay, so this is like, it's a very complex environment. The direction out of the maze is uncertain and requires a very little bit of thinking and reflections and analysis and pondering. There are traps on the way out of the maze, and you will get caught if you are not careful enough. So in this case, companies should adopt an adaptive strategy, step by step, and then constantly adjust the directions and path. Okay, so this will, you already know so many things about marketing, branding, positioning, differentiation, SWOTs or organizations, developments or management, human resource, HRD, HRM, SHRM, and financial management, and all this issue. So hopefully today give you an awakening to the natures of complexities. And to simplify the nature of complexity, we're only talking about this continuity multiplied by this uncertainty. But no matter what the case are, you have to know that because of this complexity, another things we have to know is that no matter what we do, either here or here or here or here, a little bit of what we do, if we really invest money on and do it, it will take on a butterfly effect. So this butterfly effect is that a butterfly flick a wing in Chiang Rai, the whole world will change. Yes or no? Now you see the whole world changes, right? Flooding, weather changes, and this and things like that, and because of the social media, right? And things change, concept spread, and another place change. So this is called butterfly effect. It's getting worse and it's getting more and more butterfly effect everywhere, on the political side, on the business side, on the environmental side, on the educational side, on everything side. So these are very, very important. So in a way, if we want to change our thinking, we know that we have to change our view. So I have just spoken to you and share with you is how we can change the way we think in terms of this and the environment. And plus, the environment itself also changes. Sometimes we can control the environment, especially in the internal environment. Sometimes we cannot, because it is an external environment. And the way we look at the environment, which is the old opportunity and threat, is the things I have just explained to you. So all these are opportunity and all these are threat, but it is look at it from a concept, context, interrelationship manner at the philosophical, conceptual level that will influence the way we take on our thinking's contents, and our thinking contents will drive our abilities and our actions. Meaning, we have to change our competencies. We have to change the way we do things every day, and that will change our result. So changes the view, right? And freeze the view, right? Before our view was frozen. We have to do in this way, we have to do in that way. But now today, I just want, if you can just understand this concept, do something about it. Change the way you think about your past. Change the way you think about your industry. Change the way you think about yourself. Change the way you think about your organization. Change the way you think about your employees. Change the way you think about your country. Change the way you think about your operating system. If you are able to unfreeze the view, which by the help of the view itself and by the help of the environment, and when you are able to change the view, you changes everything. It will need to change. So unfreezing is the very first step before you can change something. When you change something, if it's working, we have to put up a system. ISO 9001, whatever, culture, discipline, and policies, and incentives and motivation for people to continue to do the things again and again in the right direction, in the direction that we demonstrated. So this is called freezing. We freeze again. So we have to unfreeze it and we change, then we have to refreeze again. So every single part here, every single part here, every single part here, every single part here is all about unfreeze. We have to unfreeze, then we can change it according to we unfreeze that we have to be like this, and we change it, and then we refreeze, okay, and things like that. So these are this situation. Sometimes you can change, you can control your environment. For example, if you can change the way your working environments are, changes this psychological safety environment of your company, right? You change the whole behavior of your company. You change the whole structures of your company, because the companies now believe that they are in a safety net. Okay, so these changes of the psychological landscapes of your environment, of your industry, of your organization is just similar to the things I have just discussed with you in the 5S. Operation systems and strategy and supply chain management, which is you set the stage, or categorize them in a proper sense. Set the stage, get people on the same page, And then after that, because everybody believe they're in psychologically safe net and in a landscaping, so you invite engagement and everybody responds productively. That will change the organization. So you can, if you change the environment by just looking into, zooming into the organization, not at the external environment. So if you zoom into the organizations by changes the environmental, psychological safety perspective, you set a stage and engage people, and so all of a sudden, all your employee change, all your employee changes in their thinking, and because they change in their thinking and adapting to the environment, strategic thinking comes into the picture. Okay, because it moves the whole company to the same direction, and from there, you can change the behavioral environment. And even you can change, even the environments can be, you can change. This is the environment. On the psychology, we can also change the way the way we work, in our working environment. So example, rather than fitting people to job description, why don't they move from one job to another job, from work to work? So we design the work environment, design work around a project, rather than fixing. Okay, your marketing, please do only on this perspective. Okay, but if you are focused, if we change our behavioral environment, that now everybody is moving into project by project. Today, these 3 months, we're going to get a big project in Yangon. Okay, this project is about logistics. And this about a project, it's about, and then from there, everybody move in that direction. Your job of marketing, whatever, is moving into that direction, flow towards the work in that direction. So and then because you change the way of your behavioral environment, and the thinking also change. So suddenly the way they look at the environment, look at the job also change. So this is very, very important. Changes in the business environment, I already talked to you, and even changes the view, like a poor debt and rich debt. It changed everything. And also just now we talked about the 4 views for concept. Okay, so these are the situation. For example, let me focus on the view. If you change the way you look at your business as from the view of the rich daily, you will tend to make use of leverage your body, leverage your mind, leverage your body. But if you look at your poor daddy, maybe you try to look at the view from learning your body, by changing the view from just in time to inventory based logistic or supply chain or operations management. It changes the way we operate our businesses. It changes the way we operate our production. Right, one of them is just-in-time lean management. You have to pull from the customer, and then you have to set up your system in such a way that one end is pulling from the activities from upstreams and so on and so forth. But if you are looking into inventory-based control, then you just simply look into the economics of orders and scheduling, master schedulings, and material requirements spreading in a very fixed manners, right? So again, different views change will lead to different behavior. Just give you examples on a view, a different example. If you think of competitive advantage as something not continuous, but something transient, temporary. So there is no long-term competitive advantage. It is only a transient competitive advantage. So transience means you're moving in this direction, but when you move along the direction, certain time, every time you move on, there are certain advantages come into the picture. In this moment in time, you have these advantages. At that another moment in time, you have another advantages. So in this situation, if you think of competitive advantages, something that is transient, then you will not rigidify. You will not make your system. You will not design your competency in such a way that constrain and rigidify your organization. Your organizations becomes more flexible and becomes more willing to change, becomes more investable, becomes more friendly and more willing to invest on creativities and innovation. So you can see that changing the view, change the whole environment. If you can think of competitive advantage as something that is strengthened, you will organize your company in a very different way. You will not rigidify your company. You will try to make sure that you have a team of people that are willing to change and give you the advantages as times pass on. Okay, so it's very important for it. So if you look into the competitive advantage as a transient advantage, you will know that there's no continuations of the returns all the time. There is going up and there is a stability and it comes down. So this means that your strategy, your competencies will change in such a way that immediately you launch something, you have to ramp it up and you have to exploit it. And according to the ambidexterity, you also need to reconfigure it. You have to restructure it. And then move on to another place, disengage it, and move on to another competitive advantage. So in this sense, we will change our system. We will change our thinking based on when we change our view. So by changing the view from poor daddy, we change to rich daddy concept. We change the way we think about starting entrepreneurship or starting our business by developing the systems of operations or by just simply working for people. Or if we change from JIT, just in time, to inventory or inventory JIT, a combination, things change, right, in our operation system. And if we change the view from what I have just explained in terms of competitive advantages, transitions, competitive advantage from a sustainable, and then we will change the way we think. And suddenly we are into a place where we can ramp it up, exploit it, and quickly reconfigure it. So we got to have competencies of ramping up. We have to have competencies of exploiting it. We have to have competencies of reconfiguring it. So the three very important strategies of ambidexterity is competencies. Number one is opportunity identification. Once you identify the opportunity, then the second is you have to exploit it. But before that, you have to ramp it up, exploit it, reconfigure it. So these are the three important competency and strategy. So in environment of temporary advantage, you need to be able to exploit and reconfigure all these reconfigurable assets. So assets must be reconfigurable. Your assets cannot be fixated, right? In that sense, as an example, right? Okay, and so you will have reconfigurable assets, people capability to move from one opportunity to another opportunity as the opportunity shift. And so if you look into this for complexity, you can see that opportunity shift from one opportunity to another opportunity to another opportunity to another opportunity. And so you can see as the ramping up and then use it and then transform again. Okay, so you can see that everything we do is all interrelated, and it is related to everything we discussed right here. It's related to organization change management concept. It's relating to this strategy, trilogy, and it's relating to the Buddha's Eightfold Path, right? The Samma-Titi, change in views, Samma Sankappa, change in thinking, Samma Vaca, Samma Samadhi, Samma Vaca, Samma Kankatam, Samma Liangqi. This is changes in abilities and action, and Samma Samadhi and Samma Sati is the result that you gain. Okay, so these are also the Buddhism Eightfold Path. So whichever you do, you no need to be serious about it, but you will know that all the strategy, whether it is in religions, whether it's in spiritualities, or whether it is in organization change, management of ruins change, unfreeze change, refreeze, or in ISO 9001, or in this, it's all the same. Okay, so this the example of the view. So we are therefore merely product of our mind. Okay, 我们只是思想的产物 right? And product of our mind. So we can use the creative and empathic mind to deliver performance. So I want to add one more additional thing. Now I have put into a context. I have given you a good understanding about trilogy of the strategy and bring you back to the context. Okay, these complexities, uncertainties, and the discontinuity complexities, and link it to the concept. Okay, link it to the concept and link it to the content, whichever content you want. Strategy contents, competency content, and I have given you a lot of contents, competencies contents for hotel industry and this careers and the tourism industry. And so today we have the opportunity to look into the trilogy, but because the conclusion is that everything is relating to the mind, so I want to add one more that link you back to something you have learned before, which is a competency in terms of design thinking. Because the mind is about being creative. So being creative, it's about being able to use the minds creatively. Okay, such as a whole bunch of the minds that is very difficult to do, and differentiation. And so many companies, they try to differentiate themselves, but differentiations creates chaosity, because when everybody is trying to differentiate, right? Yes or no? If you look at carefully, look at the Gerji, look at this parts and these things that I have just explained to you, which it's very philosophical, so we don't want to go too much. Look at this cognition scope, the looking at the part and looking into the whole perspective. If you look into these Gerji, these scopes of cognition, and if you look into the parts, individual organization. So this is one organization. I am very sure if I give you an assignment, and I'm very sure, or I give, and if you will go to the website of all these individual assignments, individual company, everybody say that my company is differentiation. Yes or no? So everybody is differentiated. So everybody think they have strategy. Everybody think they have competitive strategy. Everybody think that they can compete with they are in an attractive or reasonable profit in a 5-force analysis. Everybody think that they can survive. But did you realize that this differentiation, when everybody is in the differentiation, in the same differentiation, conceptually, it is the same, right? Yes or no? If you look carefully in your trilogy, the context and the competitive, the concept, everybody is the same concept, differentiation concept. So in overall perspective, in the whole holistic perspective, in the overall perspective, it is common. So actually, there is no differentiation. Actually, everybody died. You cannot sell easily. So everybody was mistaken. So in this slide, in the concept, the concept of this the concept. Okay, the concept of trilogy, we have already talked about it, which is the context, the concept, and the content, and this when all this when all concept of the differentiations all do the same thing, all do the same, it becomes common. It becomes common. No differentiation. No differentiation. Okay, no differentiation in the eyes and minds of customers. Okay, and so everybody's dying, right? So everybody has a problem. So that's why in this kind of situation, in the design thinking, and some company come up with a blue ocean strategy to yellowtail, okay, yellowtailed wine. Okay, what yellowtailed wine? Okay, so this is where the yellowtails comes into the pictures. Very simplicities, and it connotes and deliver the cultures of jumpings of the kangaroo in the wildlife, and very simple. Whether it is just red and white, and there's not much details of all these stupid things, labelings and this and that, and you can purchase from any sources of the vineyard, and still can reduce the cost and increase the attractiveness. All these are creative mindset. Okay, a creative mindset. So in the sense that being creative, I just want you take this couple of minutes because we're coming to the end, couple of minutes opportunity to bring you to the attention of design thinking. So if you look into the general managers chairman, they will also tell you the same story, which is I'm now moving because we are all product of the mind. But product of the mind is, apart from changing the view, can change the mind, which I have already shared with you, changing the structures, changing the mind. But I just want you to let you know that mind itself is not only influenced by not only influenced by the views, and mind itself is not only influenced by the view and influenced by our environment, but mind itself can change by itself. So this auto-poetic theories of mind, that mind itself is changeable, that is the design thinking. So I want to, last part is the design thinking before we come back to illustrate other things, is that many company CEO realize this design thinking's importance. So what we have got at GM now is a general comprehension that you can't run this business by the left brain. You have a lot of right side creative input, so you have to make use of your right brain. Okay, and these are very important, and you can see this all that being emotional and creativities, things like that. I don't think anybody thinks we are not serious in the design thinking. So even the detergents or consumable product or products and gamble, they even tell straight away from the CEO that no, I don't think anybody think that we are not serious about design business. In fact, we want to design the purchasing experience of consumer. We want to design the communication experience. We want to design the user experience. So the ability to design is actually all your competency. Okay, so my competency development design is very important. So, okay, and another in design thinking. So these are the thinking philosophy. And you have to make use in design thinking. If you study the design thinking, you have to make use of the story. Okay, so story can tell you what is going on and what you need to, the design to put in your design, to put in your process, to put in your system, to put in your features, to put in your services, to put in blah, 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 blah. So in the design thinking, you can read it by yourself. If you don't read, it's fine. If you read it, you can get how the design thinking go, and so fact has become very ubiquitous. Okay, it's just like the differentiation I have just given to you. So we need to put facts into context. We need to put text, right? The facts are ubiquitous. Everybody has fact of differentiation, but it is so common. So you got to put things into perspective, into a context, into a storyline, into a context of why kangaroo, things like that. So these are very important. So we need to put facts into a context and deliver the emotional impact. That drinking is like immediately transported into the environments of Australia. That is what a story does. Story is moving into not only into the product, not only into the service. It is moving into how you influence the organization's behaviors, how you influence the organizations in terms of managing your knowledge and things like that. Okay, so very important. Use of story in the crowded marketplace is very important, especially can help you clarify and combines the value that you need to deliver to the customer plus how significant those values are. Okay, so these are the story, and so you can instead of selling all this wine, why don't you put up a story and let the story tells with different packagings and tells the different situations, and when people drink and experiences your product and services, they also comes along and associated with the story. Okay, and the second one, in design thinking, very important is the symphony, that everybody's playing a role, but together creates a rhythm of the very pleasing music. So that is called symphony, 交响乐. So symphony, the ability to see the big picture, detect the patterns, combine the dispersed things into something worthwhile that has emotional impact and things like that. And so design thinking must be able to put things into perspective. And the third things of design thinking, that is the design thinking, that means that you are trying, if your ability to use your mind is in a way to help you design your services, design your management, design your product, design your competency. Is during your designs of competency, you can also use this procedure, right, which is story. Okay, for example, I wrote the papers on designing the computer on how the hotels. Suddenly forget the hotel. I went to China's one of the hotels in Xi'an, not Xi'an, and Hangzhou hotel, and so what happened is that they have a storyline, and they use the story and back the story and transform the story into the landscaping and into their services, and so this and not only that, every part of the landscaping and the services together tells the whole complete story. That is symphony. And not only that, they every step along the way through your engaging, through your services and the conversation and the arrangements of these culinary services and in the hotel's environment, everybody is talking about caring, empathy. So 共情, 同理心, right? Empathy. It's very important. Empathy in a simple way means if you want to focus on the empathies of the tourism industries, of the hotel industries, or of the culinary industry, is you standing in someone else's shoes, feeling with your heart and seeing with your eyes, and to make the world a better place. Okay, and this empathy competency is very important because you cannot outsource it and you cannot automate it. And so that is the reasons why design thinking in terms of empathy is very, very competitive differentiation. The next one in design thinking is for what purpose? For what purpose we are focusing on this particular design. That means you got to deliver meaning. So meaning is at the center of every successful business. So you got to have meaning. For what meaning that your designs comes into this picture? Man's concern is not to gain pleasures, avoid pain, but what are the meaning in their life? So if you look into the customers' value propositions of the gains creators and the pain points eliminators, those pains creators. Those pains reducers or eliminators and the gain are very important because that brings about a benefit. But if you can, they are important, but if you can even centralize this into a context that brings the benefit, the value in a way to the meaning at the meaning levels of their life. That transcend their living, their meaning, give them meaningful life. That is a very powerful value proposition. Okay, so make sure that you can you focus on value proposition, on the meaningful value propositions like the whole foods market. They have the meanings that whatever creativity they do, supply chain they do, competency that they do, it's all focusing on meaning, which is to deliver and improve health and well-being of everyone on the planet through high quality foods and better nutrition. Okay, and things like that. So these are very important point. And on the design, perspective, just want to bring you to the intention that the two turning point in industry in the industries right now. Before we use the machine to replace our muscle, but now we use the machine to replace our brain. Okay, to replace our brain and to replace our design thinking. So we use machine to replace our thinking. Okay, to replace our mind. So these are very conceptual. We're seeing many things happening now with all these smart gadgets and things like that. Okay, just want to bring you to the attention on these changes in this environment, industry environment, is another trilogy that is very important. It's called Golden Triangle of Disruption. So I hope all the students by now has already, and especially importance in design thinking, and especially very important in your strategy and your competency development, is that because whatever we develop, our product and services, we have to deliver our product and services to the customer. But the customers nowadays are falling into this golden triangle of disruption. So the consumer behavior, the marketing, the branding management, the consumer behavior, the marketing, and all this branding and services are being disrupted based on this golden triangle of disruption, meaning three things that disrupt the consumer behavior. Okay, and one of them is the mobile, another one is the social connection, and the third one is everything is real time. So the mobile, social, the real time technology trend is what we call golden triangles of disruption, and they are changing the consumer engage and discover information and their behavior. And because of that, because they change, company must also adapt and change accordingly in embracing the mobile, socials, and real-time technology. And your design thinking should also focus on this area. So the result of all this issue is therefore, for sure, we are moving into digital transformation and business disruption. So these are very, very important. Quickly, if we have time, we can move forward again. During the digitization of the social, mobile, and real-time, consumer behavior change. Okay, but even though no matter how they change, the shape is the same. Something is stimulating them. Okay, we call stimulus, and after stimulations, the consumers start to form some idea. We call organism, and some idea later they respond. Loyalty, buying the product. So we know from our marketing, from our consumer behavior, from our brand, that there is a simple process called AIDA, which is awareness. Right? We stimulate it so that the consumers form some awareing of our companies, awareing of our organization product. So awareness start to happen. But we have to do some promotion, marketing, in order to induce some interest and they fit on with their value proposition to create the desire and allow them to want to purchase our product called action. So this is a traditional marketing, AIDA. Then slowly, and in the consumer behavior, it means that we are creating attitude, right? If they have a strong attitude based on the interest and the desire, they will act and they will act again and again, which is called loyalty. But with the social, mobile, and real time, we are slowly moving into creating appeal. So we have to give them awareness and let them have a lot of diversity of choices appearing to their interests, and then let them go to the social environment, social mobile environment to ask people to ask. The more they ask, the more they connect with people. The more they connect with people, the more they act. The more they act, the more they advocate. Okay, so these are therefore we have this brand advocacy ratio in competitive strategy in terms of this triangle as we brand advocacy ratio. So we have a way, okay, which is the input, the process, the output is the appeal. So appeal divided by a way, and then appeal and appeal cancel each other. So we have, because the next one is asking, so and the next one is act, the next one is advocate. So we can, if you multiply each other together, you have cancel, 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 cancel. It becomes advocate divided by awareness. So starting from awareness, how you're going to achieve advocacy is that everybody talk positively about our company. This is what competency it is all about in digitized form. So this is one of the marketing 4.0 together with marketing 5.0 now. It's about the competency where you can bring about externality of loyalty. So that is called, you have to build competencies of attraction. Right? You have to build competencies of curiosity. You have to build competencies of commitment. You have to build competencies of affinity. So attraction is about you able to create awareness and brings about appeal. Curiosity is about your ability to appeal to them, to engage their interest and to initiate their interest and let them start asking a lot of questions in the community. And commitment is through asking that they need to act on it. Act on your product. Affinity is through acting on it and purchasing your product. That becomes the loyalty, that becomes the ambassador for you. So we are talking about repositioning competency, marketing communication competency, community marketing competencies, content marketing competency, channel management competency, Salesforce management competency, loyalty program competency, customer care competency. The whole thing is equal to loyalty. So the loyalty is equal to the brand advocacy. Okay, this is in terms of the change of the working environment. The concept is being connected through the triangle of this social, mobile, and this real time. Okay, and so these are just from there. We have time, we will go through it. I will this is just to tell you that if you review the literature review on strategic thinking, which I have already given some of the broad ideas of strategic thinking, but if you look into the literature review, you also can get some perspective from the strategic thinking. And the strategic thinking, if you look into literature review, is telling you that if you want to think strategically, you have to look at the time. So thinking in time. So look at the time, look at the present, look at the past, look at the future, thinking in time, and get as much voices as possible, just like the demonstrating to you the social, mobile, and real time. But give voices of ideas with openness and opportunities is very important. Okay, and this so the more opportunity we give to people to participate in giving us the idea, the more strategic we have, and the more we look at into the time domain, the more strategic thinking we have, and the more we look into the hypothetical relationship cause and effect in the analytic sense, the more thinking we have, and the more we dare to go to the future, intense stretch goal, stretch focus, intense focus, stretch focus, stretch goal. The more strategic thinking we have, because the more we stretch into the future, the more we are out of bounds from our presence capability, right? From our presence capability to deal with the intense focus. So each of the intense focus will pull us, will make differently from the past to the present to the future. So our hypothetical, hypothesis-driven will be different. I have shown you the hypothetical card, solutions card in the past, in some of the YouTube. So this, I hope you already have understand. Another thing is seeing the part and the future, the parts and the whole together, just like the butterfly effect. We call system thinking. Okay, so you have to know how to think in a system way. So in conclusion, a strategic thinking if you read the literature review carefully, they will tell you that to think strategically is to make use of the time. Okay, let the time domain help you to think and give as much participation and idea and be design thinking in the future as much as possible, and think in the parts and the whole, and think in terms of stretch goal, intention, intense focus, and together with hypothetical will give you these things, right? So to achieve your stretch goal, intense focus, you need to leverage your competencies. Okay, that is the intentions of this of the assignment, right? And I have already explained it, the principles of the design thinking. But if you really want to go into the design thinking, helping you on the strategic thinking, which is you can look and you can go to the Google and find out many design thinking model. If you look carefully into the design thinking model, it is really nothing but a divergence convergence. So it is a divergence and convergence situation. So we diverge by often giving more opportunity to people and listening and be creative and be open-minded. We can create a lot of ideas, and then based on all these ideas, we have to use the system thinking to help us make a good decision. To know where we're going. So it's convergent. So this divergence, convergence, there are many models. Okay, I don't need to review. You can look at it carefully in make your minds to be more creative, right? But make sure that you opens up to listens to other people's voices, and then from there you can discover a lot of ideas. But make sure that you define it properly so that you know based on the definition. You try to diverge again to design many different prototype, and then converge again on one particular solution. Or you can converge, diverge, convert in different direction, in different domains. So we want creativity first, then we move. Once we have creativity, we want to move on to innovation. Then once we have innovation, we want to take action and move on to forming a company. We call entrepreneurship. And you can use the convergence, divergence, convergence for each of the steps. So you can have divergence, convergence of creativity, which is discover, define, and then you can innovation of delivery, develop and deliver it, and then entrepreneurship of declare your value propositions and devote it and turn it into the company through your business model. And so the front end of creativity and innovation is based on design thinking, and the end of the last end is based on the business model. Okay, and why intense focus is because it's stretch, right? And so will make the organizations less distracted and then the rivals. So it's more focus and stretch. That itself is competitive differentiation. So do not think that strategic thinking itself is no differentiation. It's already differentiated, especially with the intense focus. I will not fail. I will continue to work on it again and again based on my vision, based on the complexity, the discontinuity, and plus the uncertainties. But we will continue again and again, and based on that particular intense focus, right? So intense focus, therefore, is less distracted than the rivals. Okay, and you can use that as the sense of direction for you to develop and improve and gain your competencies. Okay, so the rest is pretty easy. I will not go through. Wait, internet driving slower again. Okay, just not to waste the time, because sometimes when we are opening the slide for a long time and the internet start to, the system start to slow down. So today, I will finish today just to give you more ideas, so that the intention is to give you some more additional thought and idea, so that you can design. So you can make the presentations better, in a more confident way in the next week. So next week I will start your presentation, and I will give you the grade based on your presentation. Okay, so I have already told you the grading situations, and now depends on your presentation. And so today, hopefully, you gain a little bit more knowledge about the strategy trilogy and the trilogies of this consumer engagements and behavior, and based on the eras today. And also got introduced to you the competencies of marketing 4.0, which requires you to modify the processes and the steps along the way in your loyalties engagement. Okay, so any questions from all of you? Are you all clear on the expectations? Okay, so expectation is next week presentations one by one. Okay, and I will give you the name. I will ask who is going to present, and then if you are not here, automatically discount 20%. But for those who are from Myanmar, we do understand there are certain internet connection issue, which I do not need to worry. But other nationalities, if I name you without discussions and presentations, your grades will be automatically discounted. Okay, and you need those grades because I already show you the grade. Okay, minimally you should be able to get that. But if you missed because of your attitude, then it's a different story. Okay, so I will post this video to you on the Google form, a Google Classroom, and so that you can review it step by step. And I also will share the revised PowerPoint presentations on the Google Classroom in case some modifications I made without renewing the PowerPoints to you. So I will review it again, resend it to you again today. Okay, so any questions? If no, then thank you very much and best wishes, and see you next week in your presentation. Computer hang. So